Hey everybody, my name is Jason, founder of healthopsy.com, and today's video is about a topic that I have learned has been affecting my health for the past few years, and I had no idea it was doing so, and that is oxalates. So if you don't know what oxalates are, today I'm going to give you some knowledge on what oxalates are. So you may ask, what the heck do oxalates look like? Why should I care about them, and why does it matter? So oxalates are more prevalent in today's diet because of the fact that we're intaking a lot more of non-seasonable produce like spinach. People are eating green smoothies, more spinach, more healthy salads, and that's okay, but there's no seasonality. So if you're eating spinach every day, that's a high oxalate food. And I'm going to put a picture right here of some of the top oxalate forming foods. And the reason why they're bad is because they have the highest amount of oxalates, and those tend to be sweet potatoes, rhubarb, beets, almonds, spinach. Those are some of the biggest offenders with oxalates. So if you're not rotating those in and out of your diet and you're eating them on a daily basis, it can really be hindering your gut's ability to get rid of those oxalates, and then they're getting lodged into tissues and not excreted through the kidneys. So the problem with some of these diets like the keto diet, vegan diet, and the paleo diet is there's high amounts of high oxalate foods in the diet. So the problem becomes your body doesn't have the ability to get rid of that amount of oxalates through the kidneys and through your urine. And the typical amount of oxalates we're supposed to have, based on a few studies, is anywhere from 80 to 120 milligrams a day. And in some smoothies, they're up to 400 milligrams of oxalates in one smoothie containing spinach and kale and almond milk. So that's where the biggest problem is. And some people may get digestive irritability, they might get brain fog, headaches, fatigue, joint pain, inflammation. And this is primarily produced from the oxalates. So what do oxalates look like? Well, under a microscope, they look like glass shards, if you can imagine that. I'm going to post a picture here of what they look like. And if you can imagine that getting lodged in your joints, your tissues like tendons, muscles, even in your eye, that's where oxalates can get lodged in your body. And those are the insoluble oxalates that didn't get bound to a mineral in your gut, and the beneficial bacteria getting rid of those oxalates the proper way. And that's when the real problem becomes, is when they're getting lodged in tissues, you're having pain, you're having fatigue. And that's why oxalates in high amounts aren't good in the diet. Now let's look at the gut. So the gut has some really good beneficial bacteria that are supposed to degrade some of these oxalates when you are intaking high oxalate foods. Some of these bacteria that I like to call the gut defenders are Oxalobacter, some of the bifido strains, and some of the lactose strains. So if you get a stool test and you're low on those beneficial bacteria, you're pretty much going to have an issue degrading oxalates in the diet. So you really want to maintain really good gut health and make sure that you're supplementing with probiotics if need be, and prebiotic fibers to make sure you have healthy gut microflora and have a happy and healthy microbiome. That's really important if you're intaking a lot of these high oxalate foods. Some people don't even know how important gut health is, but unfortunately, news to you, gut health is everything, because what you're putting in your body has to get assimilated into the minerals and nutrients that your body needs. Next, I want to talk about the effects of oxalates in the body, and when you have too many oxalates in the body. There's a condition called hypoxaluria, and that is a condition created when there is an elevated amount of oxalates in the body, creating systemic inflammation and downstream negative effects in the body. And this is created by two different variants of what I like to call an oxalate storm. One is basically not controlled by diet, and the other is. So I myself have a genetic predisposition from an enzyme called the AGXT genetic mutation. So I endogenously produce more oxalates through the metabolism of food. And what that means is my body takes in food sources and overproduces oxalates naturally. And I'm going to post a picture of my test results here so that you can see my test results showing that I have the genetic SNP to produce more oxalates. And this is important, and it actually happens in a few different enzymes in the genetic sequence that you could look for through a 23andMe test and work with a practitioner to conclude that you may have this issue as well. The second reason that could really produce hypoxaluria is dietary sources. And the problem with that is if you're intaking too many oxalates, you have free oxalates in the body that you're not getting absorbed into the gut bacteria and excreted through the body. So hyperoxaluria is just a buildup of oxalates in the body, which can be a problem and really should be something you should be considering to talk to with your health practitioner that understands this. And I'm going to even back my claims up on how I self-diagnosed myself with hypoxaluria through my organic acid test, showing that I have elevated issues in the glyceric, glycolic, and oxalic issues in the body. So all those elevated test results are showing that I have the two forms, the glycolic and the glyceric, which is my endogenous production of oxalates in the body. It's showing is elevated, so my body is overproducing oxalates. And then the oxalic acid form of that test is showing that I have high levels of oxalic acid. And bringing it back to oxalic acid coming from plants, that means that I'm actually eating high oxalate foods, intaking the high oxalic acid, and that oxalic acid not binding, making it soluble so I can excrete it through the body. It's overproducing insoluble because I don't have enough minerals, or I'm not binding correctly through the beneficial bacteria, helping it get excreted through my body. So that becomes a problem. So this is a three-pronged negative approach to my health, unfortunately, because I'm overproducing and I'm actually intaking. And I myself I'm a vegan, which I am eating a lot of plant foods. However, now that I know this information, I have to really switch to a low oxalate vegan diet, which becomes challenging because that limits my ability to get certain food sources that are really healthy but do have high oxalate affinity. So for me to pivot to a healthy diet with low oxalates, I'm going to proactively take a supplement called magnesium citrate or magnesium calcium citrate. So the great beneficial reason I would take that supplement is because the insoluble oxalates that I'm actually eating from high oxalate foods will bind to that mineral, making it soluble, and it'll be excreted through the body correctly without staying in the gut and getting through the gut into the bloodstream, into the tissue. I hope you enjoyed this video on oxalates and why they could be important in your life and why you should be worried about them. I hope you've learned something from this video, and if you have, hit the like button and subscribe to this channel if you're interested in all things health and wellness. My name is Jason from healthodyssey.com. Thanks for watching.